Hello from Japan. Today we are talking about Under the Volcano by Malcolm Lowry, and this was on my 2024 TBR list, and it also happens to be a book from the Modern Library. I believe this is number 11 on the list, so we're going to kill two birds with one stone today with this review. What is this book about? Geoffrey Furman, who is like a British, kind of a consigliere character living in Mexico. I can't pronounce the name of the city. I checked it on 3 pronunciation videos, and every single one of them was noticeably different from the others. So anyway, if you know how to say that word, that city, congratulations to you. You probably live there. So he's there, and he is in the final stages of acute alcoholism. His world is alcohol. However, this man is divorced not too long ago. He's actually not entirely sure if they were divorced. He knows that his wife is not here anymore, and it's because of his drinking. And for the last, 6 months or so, all he's done is drink and complain and oh, if only my wife would come back to me, I would give up this alcohol. If she would just come back and we would love one another and I wouldn't need to drink anymore. And his wife comes back. But she doesn't give him any warning. It's too sudden. She just arrives and says, "Hi, Geoffrey, I'm here." And he's already been drinking, just some quick, stealthy drinks for breakfast to sort of even him out after the night before, because there's always a night before with this man. So he's had a couple of little, a little whiskey here, a little tequila over there, but they're all just medicinal. He warns us, like, as long as it's not mezcal, because that's what kills him. So he's had a couple of drinks, and here his wife returns. But he can't stop. He continues to drink throughout the day, trying to rationalize or come to terms or to lie to himself, to say that maybe tomorrow he will stop. Today it's already too late. Like he's already gone too far today. Tomorrow he'll stop drinking. I think this is what happens, is that people don't realize once it's become too late. Like once you've crossed the line, there's no stepping back. And if you don't realize it, and if you are not aware of the line, and one day you look behind you and like, oh, I crossed that line, that is a real human tragedy. What complicates the story is that his half-brother is in residence somehow, they are living together, and that his ex-wife, Yvonne, may or may not have had an affair with his half-brother, Hugh. He didn't mind that they might have had an affair, or that they are having an affair right under his nose, because he is in love with bottles of alcohol. And he knows it in those few moments, those rare moments when he's being truthful with himself, which is not terribly often. Okay. This is the second time I've read this book, and I must say that I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was tedious and hard to get through. All of this book takes place in a single day. It's one of those, oh, this all happened in one single day books. And I don't think it works because of that, because so much of the novel is this man struggling to not drink, mainly for appearance's sake, and then justifying his drinking, then lying to himself saying, oh, they probably didn't notice. Oh, I think I had that one, a little bit sneaky on the side, and no one saw those 3 or 4 drinks that I had. As well, like, we can't trust this narrator because he's constantly pissed. Like, he says that he snuck away into a cantina to have a couple of quick drinks, when nobody's noticing. But then, shortly afterwards, we see that everybody notices him. He hasn't been sneaky in the least. Especially as a British man in Mexico, he's really quite noticeable. And like, he's infamous in this town because of his alcoholism. Like, he's outrageous. In fact, like, a lot of people refer to him really quite insultingly. They call him mezcalito, because he's such a raging alcoholic on this mezcal. I've never tried mezcal, and reading this book scares me away from it. Having read this, I don't think I ever want to try it. As I was saying, I didn't terribly enjoy this book because it seems that it's this man who has a very inflated sense of his intellect, who's just an absolute ferocious alcoholic, who's been so desperate for the return of his wife, and now she has returned, and he can't do what he's been, begging. Oh God, please, all destiny, fate, please just give me one chance, let her come back to me and I'll change. And he doesn't. Okay, like that's the stuff of literature. But there are too many meandering, slow bits where, like this man, he's going through all of this minutia, name dropping and showing, oh, he knows these authors and he knows this arcane literary knowledge and he connects this one, and boy, doesn't he seem to know quite a lot of stuff. Probably not. It's probably just a lot of fake clever people who just keep dropping these references and names, and oh, Dostoevsky and Nietzsche, and oh, of course, it all goes back to the book of Genesis and Moses. Well, what am I talking about? Of course, we have to, discuss existentialism. Like they're trying to spin these webs of intellectualism, and in this case, it's so that we hopefully don't discover this man is a completely untrustworthy reprobate. It's like he's throwing his life away for another drink, and he cannot be trusted and should not be trusted. In fact, like one of the undercurrents in this book that I did like was this need to escape from Mexico. It's like he's burned all of his bridges. Everyone knows he's completely dissolute, and he needs to get the hell out of this country. I did like that, but the thing about this book is that there's some good stuff, but it's so very few and far between. Like if you're obsessed with the Modern Library 100 list, as I am, okay, you're gonna have to read it eventually, as I did. This is my second time reading this book because I think the first time I really quite enjoyed it. I think I was drinking heavily at that period of my life, so it seemed more familiar. And at this stage of my life, I'm hardly drinking at all. Like I'm really, really trying to cut drinking out of my life. Now it seems horrific because it's like when you see someone and you think, God, I could have turned out like that if I hadn't have made those better decisions. I'm happy that I'm moving away from alcohol. I still like to drink a little beer like that. I don't know why. Like I wouldn't say I love beer, but it's just so hard to give it up. Let me read you my two favorite scenes from this book. All right, one's a short one, one's a bit of a long one, because there is some good stuff in here. It's just that it's so hard to come by. This one bit from the beginning of chapter 6, I like this because it's a bit of a moment of, like a slight moment of honesty, but then it quickly, oh no, too much honesty for today. Let's forget all that lunacy that I was saying. Of course, everything's perfectly well. I remember at 29, a man is in his 30th year, and he was 29, and now at last, though the feeling had perhaps been growing on him all morning, he knew what it felt like, the intolerable impact of this knowledge that might have come at 22 but had not, that ought to at least have come at 25 but still somehow had not, this knowledge, hitherto associated only with people tottering on the brink of the grave, that one could not be young forever. That indeed in the twinkling of an eye one was not young any longer. I am not a prodigy any longer. I have no excuse any longer to behave in this irresponsible fashion. I am not such a dashing fellow after all. I'm not young. On the other hand, I am a prodigy. I am young. I am a dashing fellow. Am I not? You are a liar, said the trees tossing in the garden. You are a traitor, rattled the plantain leaves. And a coward too. Life is passing. And I should have known some things before this point of realization. Everyone around me probably realized what I'm just realizing now way back when. And I'm just figuring this shit out today. Man, that's a hard day when that realization comes. And I'll read this one. The sad thing about alcohol, there's just so much romance in it. Perhaps it's just the mythology, the ethos, the whole thing, the bartender, the bottles, the taps, the brass, the wood. Like those were places where people used to go and have fun and unexpected things would happen and you would meet characters. The consul dropped his eyes at last. How many bottles since then? How many glasses? How many bottles had he hidden himself since then alone? Suddenly he saw them, the bottles of aguardiente, of anise, of Jerez, of Highland Queen. The glasses, a babel of glasses, towering like the smoke from a train that day, built to the sky, then falling, the glasses toppling and crashing, falling downhill from the Generalife gardens, the bottles breaking, bottles of Oporto, Tinto, Blanco, bottles of Pernod, Oxygene, absinthe, oh, absinthe, bottles smashing, bottles cast aside, falling with a thud on the ground in parks, under benches, beds, cinema seats. That's one of my crimes. I always used to take alcohol with me when I went to the cinema. Hidden in drawers at the consulates, bottles of Calvados, dropped and broken or bursting into smithereens, tossed into garbage heaps, flung into the sea, the Mediterranean, the Caspian, the Caribbean, bottles floating in the ocean, dead Scotchmen on the Atlantic highlands. And now he saw them, smelt them, all from the very beginning. Bottles, 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 and glasses, glasses, glasses of bitter, of Dubonnet, of Falstaff, rye, Johnny Walker, Vieux Whiskey Blanc Canadien, the aperitifs, the digestifs, the demis, the doubles, the noch ein Herr Aubers, the et glace Arax, the Tucson Tax, the bottles, the beautiful bottles of tequila, and the gourds, 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 the millions of gourds of beautiful mezcal. The consul sat very still. His conscience sounded muffled with the roar of water. How indeed could he hope to find himself, to begin again, when, somewhere, perhaps, in one of those lost or broken bottles, in one of those glasses, lay, forever, the solitary clue to his identity? How could he go back and look now, scrabble among the broken glass, under the eternal bars, under the ocean? That's really good stuff, but it's rare in this long book. I'm getting a little bit tired of rereading old books. I would rather have let this one languish in the past with some very misty, moderately positive feelings. Like now, I've read it again. Oh well, you know, I guess now I could just throw it aside and say I never need to read that ever again. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Take care, and don't drink too much. Try not to anyway. God damn. That's one thing about this world, is that when I was working at the casino, I made this realization that society is made up of the idea that some people will flourish and some people will be just sacrificed, paying taxes for things that other people do not pay taxes on. That some people are going to kill themselves with cigarettes, and the government gets a shitload of tax money from cigarettes. Some people are going to kill themselves with alcohol, and the tax money on alcohol is exorbitant in Canada. It's like sickeningly ugly. Like when you go to the liquor store in Canada for the first time and you look at the prices and you think, is that real? Is this a joke store? Like, that's 2 or 3 times more than they should be. But yeah, those are Canada prices. That's Canada taxes. And, you know, the casino. I think the casino gives 60 to 70% of their revenue to the British Columbia government. Like their profits, 60 to 70%. So the casino only keeps 40 to 30% of their profits. But even that is still so tremendous. I mean, you know, people are giving you money for nothing. They are just going to the casino and giving their money to the casino in baskets. Here's my money, take it, thank you, I'll go home now. I'll bring you another basket tomorrow. And we, as citizens, have to choose. Do I want to smoke? No. Do I want to drink? No. Do I want to go to the casino? No. Do I want to go to the new dispensary and get some drugs? No, I don't want to do that either. I just want to have a nice life, healthy, keep my money and not give it to the Canadian tax people who probably make so much they can hardly count it all. But we accept the fact that people are going to kill themselves with cigarettes, with alcohol, with drugs, and casinos. Like that was a thing at the casino that we knew. One of the players hadn't been around, and it was like, yeah, they killed themselves because they lost absolutely everything. They lost their home, they lost their car, they lost their family. The banks were hounding them because they had loans that they couldn't repay, and they spent every penny of it in the casino, and one day there was just absolutely no more, and they killed themselves. And that was not that was not an unusual occurrence. Like, nobody was surprised, nobody paused. Yeah, so we accept that in society. We accept that, yeah, those people, well, they make that bad choice, and we don't, hopefully. All right, that's enough bullshit from me. God, I get so sick of hearing myself talk. Take care. What a happy way to end the fucking video. Jesus Christ, Grant.